Bob. Bob. Did you get the Air 7 memo? Yeah.
I heard, yeah.
No, you never touched me. Maybe just the last guy, the last round. It may have nothing to do with it.
That they actually got a guy.
Yeah.
So I'll use that. Yeah.
I'm using it.
Okay, great.
Bob's shooting. I'm sitting here talking.
I know.
Not yet. 11 o'clock.
No, we're going to be on TV then. We need you now. All right. Hi. Well, we're going to be on at 11, so we can't make the 11 o'clock. You've been nice to a few other folks. We heard you on the radio.
Gosh. Back in this. I think we got it all made. Thank you. Nice shooting glasses.
Bobby, can you roll on that? See you in my shot again?
Hey, Mike. Mike.
Yes?
Well, that's it. That's between you guys. That's fine with me. I just
Okay, I was going to shoot cutaways because we're going to either that I can set up to shoot this break.
Yeah, there you go. They don't know anything. Yeah. You're playing on that blind here. You're
Exactly. Exactly.
First of all, I need to say I understand some of you are under some deadlines. The chief of police will actually be having a formal press conference with a show of the weapons as well as names. And okay, let me just basically start out. My name is Captain Stephen Roller. That's R-O-L-L-E-R. Why don't we hold up a minute for this train?
Is it with a V or a VA?
It's with a V. This morning, beginning at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning, the Compton Police Department, with the assistance of 9 other agencies, both state, federal, and local, served 37 search warrants and 19 arrest warrants for individuals wanted in connection with crimes in the city of Compton, which have occurred since September 7th, 1996. Those crimes involved 12 shootings, which resulted in the death of 3 individuals, as well as shootings which resulted in serious injury to other persons. The arrest and the search warrants were targeted at both the Crip and the Blood gangs in the city of Compton. Locations where the warrants were served were not only in the city of Compton, but in Linwood, Paramount, Long Beach, and the unincorporated areas. This now resulted in the last count of 21 bodies being taken into custody with approximately a dozen weapons, over $14,000 in United States currency, and narcotics. The suspects are being booked at the Compton Police Department for charges that include homicide, conspiracy to commit murder, and assault with a deadly weapon, as well as some other crimes as a result of the items found at the locations. Our investigators have investigated the shootings in Compton and revealed that some of the motivation for some of the shootings in the city of Compton may have been retaliation for events that occurred in the city of Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996. Las Vegas Police Department was present as observers to our operation. We have cooperated fully with them and have made our arrestees or anyone else that we contacted available if they choose to interview those persons in connection with the events that transpired in the city of Las Vegas. To dispel some rumors, none of the suspects that we arrested will be charged at the present time with any crimes occurring in Las Vegas. This operation will strictly the shootings that occurred in the city of Compton. As I said, there'll be a formal press conference at 11 o'clock in the council chambers, at which time we'll have some names, ages, locations of residence for you.
Among those arrested, is there someone who is suspected
We understand that he
as
was
a
one of the
possible
suspects
suspect
involved
in
in the
that murder?
two-pack shooting.
The Las
We can
Vegas
say that again if you like. Yes.
That was very good. You guys did a good job. Las Vegas Police Department has not announced any suspect in the Tupac Shakur shooting. There is one suspect who was arrested on a homicide which occurred in the city of Compton in April, who they will probably talk to. But as far as that goes, I would refer you to the Las Vegas Police Department for any information regarding the crime that occurred in Las Vegas.
Is that Orlando Anderson?
Orlando Anderson was arrested for the homicide that occurred in April of 1996 in the city of Compton, as well as one of the shootings that occurred since September 6th in the city of Compton.
Anderson in Las Vegas on that?
I don't have that information as to his whereabouts. Once again, I would refer you to Las Vegas Police Department for any investigation which occurred in their jurisdiction.
But who reported that there was a arrest made?
Well, I can just tell you I have spoken with Las Vegas Police Department and the representatives that were here, and I have also seen the booking slips on all the suspects. No one is charged for a homicide that occurred in the state of Nevada.
Why was Las Vegas Police involved in a local operation?
They were invited to observe our operation, and also because this targeted both the Crip gangs and the Blood gangs, we felt that it would be beneficial to them, and also they concurred, to come to the city of Compton and observe our operation and perhaps talk to people that they may feel are germane to their investigation.
Do they believe that the Crips and Bloods were involved in Tupac's killing?
I don't want to speak for the city of Las Vegas because they're conducting their own investigation and their motivation for wanting to be here is their own. Let me just say that they were here. We have cooperated both in their investigation in Las Vegas and also our investigation for the crimes that occurred in Compton took us to Las Vegas. So we have cooperated and exchanged information back and
Let's
forth.
talk about what you do believe. You chose September 7th as the date that you began your count of 12 homicides, 12 shootings. Maybe you can tell us what you believe, what this department believes in relation to the Tupac Shakur murder.
As I said, our investigation revealed that some of the motivation for the shootings that occurred in Compton may be in retaliation for the events that transpired in Las Vegas. But those of you who are familiar with gang activity know that gangs do retaliate for perceived violence against gang members of a particular set. The reason that we targeted the September 7th date is we noticed that we had an increase in gang activity and shootings beginning following that date. and the investigation has shown that there was some retaliatory event.
Is there any reason to believe this sweep is going to lessen or reduce the number of activity you see out on the street?
We have seen a reduction in the gang violence in just the past week and a half. We took a very proactive approach leading up to this multi-agency operation, and that our gang people and our patrol people were on the street in vast numbers contacting gang members, so we did notice a decrease in the activity. We feel that by making the arrest today and taking weapons off the street, as well as suspects who are wanted in very serious crimes, that there will be a decrease in the activity that we see for the next several months.
After this week over, or can we expect further arrests?
There were some suspects who were not at the locations we expected them to be at. Those warrants are still active. Our investigators will be attempting to follow up to arrest those persons who were not arrested but were named in the warrants that we had obtained. The sweep, the multi-agency sweep, has technically been concluded. The last sweep of officers has brought their arrestees and their evidence back into our command post here, so that formalized activity is over with. The follow-up will continue by the attempted service of those warrants which are outstanding.
What is it that made this a retaliatory?
Anything that you've developed so far, showing connection with death row records and Surge Knight, who was with Las Vegas, has that come up at all in your investigation?
Our investigation centers around the activity in the city of Compton. And other than to say that there is a blood-crip relationship to the shootings that occurred here, that's as far as we want to go into the motivation for the shooting.
There's no tie with Surge Knight or death row records.
We don't want to comment on that.
And you were convinced that the people that you have in custody, none of them are responsible for the shooting in Vegas?
I didn't say that. What I said was that Las Vegas Police Department will be investigating the shooting of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas. That is their case, their handle. We are cooperating fully with them in exchanging information regarding our suspects and allowing them access to those suspects and anyone else in the community they wish to talk to. But the actual decision as to who their suspect is or suspects and whether or not he was apprehended or detained, that I'm going to refer you to Las Vegas Police
Can you
Department.
say what in the press conference?
Pardon me?
Will they be speaking at the press
No, they will not.
Can you bring them on out here in the parking lot?
I believe they are away from the building.
Where
Yes.
do they stay?
I'm not going to give you that information.
Are you, have you asked for new officers for this city to help you in all of these investigations?
No, we're not, Mr. Prothero. The investigation is being done by the City of Compton Police Department in cooperation. Can I help you? I doubt it. We'll speak for them. They're press officers. Will they be talking to me? We've been talking. Getting ready to leave right now. So where? Okay, only two guys. All right, thanks.
You guys want to help?
Yeah, take that cannabis off.
It's 15 grand. We counting the bird? 17.
I don't know, we got a kilo over there, we got, I don't know, a lot of, we got some ounces over here and there. They booked in, probably booked in.
It's kind of like you had
nice
what's your
one.
name, and they said, oh,
It's a nice one.
my name.
We got,
I want to take this right here.
Oh, we got this.
Coming up with a mic stand, if not, we're going to go to plan B.
Manipulate this thing and just put it on top of here. This
photo?
because it's
Let me put these by the chairs here.
The chief doesn't really come across real good today.
Adrian.
So,
Try to bend it back the other way.
On October the 2nd, the Compton Police Department, assisted by 9 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, staged search warrant raids on 37 locations where gang members were living in the cities of Compton, Linwood, Long Beach, Paramount, and Lakewood. Officers were armed with 19 arrest warrants for suspects responsible for 12 shootings that have occurred in the city of Compton since September 7th. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the assistance that was rendered to the Compton Police Department by Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the Long Beach Police County Probation Department, the FBI, ATF, the State of California Department of Justice Bureau of Investigation, the California Youth Authority, in multiple ways of simultaneous raids. The operation was aimed at Crip and Blood factions in the area who have been responsible for the aforementioned shootings in the city of Compton. It is our belief that perhaps the motives for some of these shootings may have been in retaliation for the shooting of Mr. Tupac Shakur in the city of Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department was present and observed the operation and may interview some of the arrestees. The execution of the search warrant and arrest warrants resulted in approximately 21 arrests and the seizure of weapons, narcotics, and currency. All suspects were booked at the Compton Police Department on charges of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, assault with a deadly weapon, drug-related charges, and other charges. An investigation of this magnitude could not have been accomplished without the full cooperation of many agencies participating in this race. We hope this response sends a message out to those in our community, especially gang members who are committing crime, that it will not be tolerated. I also need to acknowledge the personnel in my department who were instrumental in this investigation. Handguns, 7 rifles, approximately $17,000 in cash, miscellaneous ammunition, as you see, 1 kilogram of methamphetamine, 1 kilogram of cocaine, approximately 2 pounds of marijuana, 3 bulletproof vests, and now we have 22 arrests. I'll take some questions.
How was the FBI involved in this investigation?
We reached out for resources, and they were very, very obliging, as they always are, in assisting local agencies in investigations.
Orlando Anderson was arrested for what?
Mr. Anderson was arrested for suspicion of murder. He was a suspect in a homicide that occurred in the city of Compton.
Is he a suspect in the Shakur murder?
I can't answer that. Las Vegas is going to have to answer that question for you.
What are they coming?
Well, I have not talked to them. They will be interviewing Mr. Anderson to see if he does have any connection to the incident that occurred in Las Vegas.
Chief, explain what you mean by retaliation for the shooting of Tupac Shakur. Why wasn't it good to be shooting people down here?
Well, we do find that when retaliations do occur, perhaps maybe people associated with different groups may perhaps have had some past gang affiliations or grew up in a specific neighborhood that may have had some gang involvement. So people have a tendency to. Well, it's our speculation perhaps some of the people felt some type of allegiance either way on either side of it.
You originally were the ones, the agency that contacted the Las Vegas Police Department and invited them to be observers in the raid? Or did they contact you?
There's been some communication both ways in terms of information we've developed and information that they have developed.
Who initially contacted them, let them know the raids were going on?
I can't answer that question for you.
But you felt that it was important enough for them to be here involved in this? So
Well,
there was-
we had developed some information that we thought might be useful in our investigation. The contact was made.
You contacted them?
Again, there was communication both ways.
Can you describe the raids this morning? What happened?
The raids were staged, as I said earlier, with approximately 300 officers. We started about 3 o'clock in the morning and went out in 2 separate waves where we executed the search warrants. Also, additionally, again, I must commend all the personnel involved. There was no one injured, either suspects. The Compton Police Department has never staged a gang raid this large. We've had other raids, but they, believe me, substantially smaller in terms of the number of locations, the number of personnel involved.
What kind of impact will this have on gang activity in your community?
Well, I hope, right now, I'm just hoping it's going to send a message out that we're not going to tolerate this type of activity. And we hopefully have some people in custody who are responsible for some past incidents, and hope that, of course, we have also saved some lives. I'm satisfied and that we have saved some lives, and hopefully maybe some of these individuals who may have perhaps been wanted to involve themselves in some future incidents involving shootings or retaliation, that won't occur because these people are in jail.
Chief, any connection in the investigation between death row records searched tonight, who are supposedly related to blood sets, and this raid which caught up Mr. Anderson, who's reportedly a crip?
I don't have any. The Compton Police Department is not presently involved in any investigation of death row records for Mr. Knight.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Mr. Anderson, a little bit about his background, why you're interested in him?
Right now, again, Mr. Anderson is the subject of an investigation, and any further information I cannot share with you.
Can you give us age?
We don't have his age, but he is in his early 20s.
Do you know where his whereabouts the night Tupac Shakur was killed?
I can't discuss that information. Again, the agencies were spread out over a number of teams, and they were assigned according to need, as opposed to being specifically in Los Angeles County Sheriff's personnel.
Were Vegas present when he was arrested?
Is that accurate?
It may be quite possible now, based upon the information we've developed thus far.
Back and forth shootings?
Yeah, between the 2 different gang factions.
Can you give us any more information about Mr. Anderson? Is he a confirmed gang member? Does he have a long rap sheet? Has he been arrested before?
I can't answer the question relative to the arrest, but it's our belief that he is a gang member.
Is he a suspect in the murder of Tupac?
I don't know. You'd have to contact Las Vegas for that information. But right now, in relationship to Mr. Anderson, he was arrested exclusively for a homicide that occurred in the city of Compton, period.
Chief, can you take us back through after September 7th, Tupac was shot that night, and then when did you first start to see shootings and homicides? Can you kind of tell us what was retaliation for what?
The next day, there were some shootings began. There were some shootings, approximately 12 in nature, that we believe may possibly, and again I want to qualify that, may possibly have been retaliatory for the incident that occurred in Las Vegas.
But they didn't all happen the next day?
No, sir. No, they were over a period of time, yes.
Sort of what you think happened, and
Yeah,
then...
these shootings occurred over about a week period.
So what was the first incident after Shakur was shot?
I don't have that information available, Mr. Gibbs.
Can you tell us
We were to obtain some search warrants and execute this operation. And again, it's been going on for a period of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
If I can give you some more information,
I'd like to introduce 3 of our council members. One of them is the mayor of the president, and again, they're here. Obviously, we certainly could not have been accomplished without their continued support. So, Mayor Bradley, Councilwoman Marcy and Shaw, council members, thank you.
Chief, one last question, I'm sorry. Did you say that?
You know, it sounds to me to be more than just coincidence if you've got FBI love.
trust me, it was coincidence. All of the suspects could have been at any of the locations. In fact, a lot of the suspects were arrested at different locations than we thought they would be. As most of you probably know from gang experience, gang members tend to move into various different locations.
Were there any other Vegas officers at any other locations during any other arrests?
Yes, there were.
How many?
There are two shown by any of the suspects in any of the arrests. And as the chief said, no officer